Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Another edition of WTP Sports, where we're trying to kill some time until college football kicks off for real. So we're coming up with things. We got team previews coming up over the next couple of weeks. We're going to get involved with, but tonight decided we'd do something a little different here. Try to predict what we think the college football playoff bracket is going to look like and when everything's said and done at the end of the season. And as we go through it, we got some great analysis coming up from, of course, the CEO of WTP Sports, Mr. Robert. How are things going for you?
Everything is going fantastic, man. I had one of the greatest experiences of my life today. I got to do an astrology reading with the one and only Ricky Williams, All-American running back out of Texas. Me and him on a Zoom call. He did an astrology reading on my birth, how it aligns with the planets and all that good stuff, man, and, zodiac signs and all that. It was incredible and how spot on it was. I was amazed, man. I was amazed. It was a wonderful treat. I got to meet one of the people that I've always admired, especially based on his football career. And after following him and hearing some of his stories and some of the things he's been through, it was phenomenal, man. If anybody ever gets a chance or they have any interest in astrology, look him up and get one of those readings. Trust me, you will not regret spending the money on it.
That's definitely not where I thought you were going to go with that story, Rob. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know where we were going, but that's not what I had on my bingo card. You should have told him to join for the Texas preview show, man. He's probably got some good insight.
For sure.
But before we get into the brackets, we have been graced with the presence of the COO, Mr. Postgame. What's going on with you? I was wondering about your new schedule, and I was like, man, I hope he makes it. But I just didn't know about your new schedule, so I'm very blessed that you are here tonight to do this with us.
Low post, mid post, high post game sports. Man, I'm so excited to be back on with y'all, man. I missed y'all. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well. So, like I was saying a minute ago, this is something we're doing just to see how well we can look into the future, where Rob might be spot on. He done talked to Ricky Williams about it, so he's got the heads up on it. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Robert's bracket up, and we'll kind of look at it and give our analysis on what Mr. Rob had to say. So here comes his bracket. And I'll let you run through your matchups, Rob. You go ahead and go through those, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, when I started thinking about who I think are going to be the 12 teams that are going to make it to the college football playoffs, I had my bold prediction, and I said that the Ohio State Buckeyes would not make the college football playoffs. So everybody looking at that right now, and you don't see Ohio State, it's because I had to stand on what I said when I had my bold prediction. So I came in with Notre Dame, number one. I feel like they're going to be a team that has the best chance out of everybody on this board to go undefeated. They do have three really good matchups. When you talk about Miami, you talk about BYU, you talk about SMU. But I think those are all games that they can win. So I had them coming in at that number one spot. Then I believe that Oregon is going to win the Big Ten. So they came in at 2. I got I got Miami winning the ACC and only really having that one loss to Notre Dame, winning the ACC. So I had them at 3. Texas at 4 because I feel like they're going to win the SEC. And then when you look at it, I think they're going to face Georgia in the championship game, and they're not going to bump Georgia down. So they're at 5. They'll be playing against UNLV. I think UNLV is going to be that group of 5 team that makes it. A few years ago, their game against Boise State was going to be the decider, and I think this year they're going to get to make it to the college football playoffs. Then at 6, I had Indiana. I feel like Indiana is going to probably come in 3rd in the Big Ten. They're going to be really, really good. Their only loss is probably going to be to Ohio State, and I think they're going to be able to get that 6th spot playing against SMU, who I believe will be playing Miami for the ACC championship game. Texas Tech will win the Big 12, even though I picked BYU to win it. I just feel like Texas Tech is probably going to go undefeated 12-0 and have a higher ranking than BYU, who they'll face in that first round in another probably matchup of the Big 12 championship game. And then I finished with number 8 and 9 being Texas A&M. And USC finally making it into the college football playoffs. That's my hopes and dreams. That's why I got USC on the board.
Like it. Before we move any further with some analysis, let's go ahead and welcome in the man who is always on the move. Always. I never know where this dude's going to be. But he's here with us tonight, and we're glad to have him. What's up, Mossberg? How are things going for you?
How's it going, everybody? It's good to see all the screens. Doing pretty good today. Man, I just been, like you said, man, busy here, there, doing a little bit of everything. And as I told a customer I had the other day, he came with his twin daughter. I didn't know which one it was. I told them I would definitely send a shout out on a podcast. And I appreciate y'all coming and all the support that the posts come through the KTs as well as the Waffle House. I appreciate all the support and especially the subscribes and the edits and everyone that's been reaching out and tuning in as well. But it's definitely good to see the guys, man. I feel like it's been a while, but I'm definitely great to be here this evening and to see you all as well.
For sure. Glad you could make it in. So, yeah, I mean, you got any thoughts on his matchups he's going to have over here post-game?
Yeah, really interesting bracket. I know Mr. Brown has a lot of college football knowledge, but I'm interested in the USC and not Ohio State. What's the reason for that pick, Mr. Brown?
You know, I really feel like Ohio State has a really, really tough schedule, and I think that they're going to probably lose 3 games, if not 4 of those games this year. And I wanted to stick to my bold prediction that Ohio State was not going to make it. So I had to put another Big Ten team in there, and I didn't think it would be Michigan, so I went with USC. I do really feel like Ohio State is going to have a tough road to travel to make it to the college football playoffs, one of the toughest. I know they got a really tough schedule. They play Texas. If they drop that game, the percentage of them making it to the college football playoffs goes down dramatically. And then you know they still have to face Oregon. They still have to face Indiana. They still have to face USC. And they still have to face Michigan. So those are 5 games that Ohio State could possibly lose 3 of those and probably be on the outside looking in, especially if they lose to USC. So I think there's a really good chance that Ohio State may not make the college football playoffs.
You know what? I don't have a problem with that, Mr. Brown, because it's like this. People may disagree with your pick, but guess what? He just broke it down and explained why he doesn't have Ohio State making the playoffs. So anybody in the chat, anybody listening, you may disagree with us, but rest assured the work has been put in to come up with our decision making for sure.
100%. We didn't just scribble some names down and pull them out of a hat here. That's why everybody had their own bracket in their own stuff, so everybody could have their own reasoning as to why. Mossberg, what thoughts you got on his 12?
I really like the 12. A lot of people I think slipping up on the USC. I think this is a year USC could actually, do damage in that Big Ten. Ohio State lost a lot defensively, understanding why I feel they could lose those games. Like respectively, offense sell tickets, but defense win championships. Defense gets you games that you win on a road. That game with USC and Ohio State, that's Halloween in the Coliseum. That's going to be a dynamic game. That's going to be a game where you're talking about Halloween costumes out, the whole nine. And when you look at Notre Dame being 1, Oregon 2, Miami 3, Texas 4, I like the pick with Georgia being number 5. We always talk about that scary 5 seed. A lot of people slip up on Georgia. They forget, if we think about this playoff when it started, I took notes in a different aspect. Instead of giving a 10, I wanted to give my thoughts on a lot of different teams and thoughts on the playoff itself. I think Georgia's scary this year. I think they could possibly take one loss in the SEC, possibly go undefeated in the SEC. And, when you're at home in the playoffs, it mounts to something special. And, Indiana is a team we all want to see improve on what they did from winning that national championship. And we know they reloaded. And Sig, he's not smoking cigs, but he's definitely blowing wind down in Indiana. And I like what he's doing in Belton. And I think the turning of the tide just might happen. We so used to seeing Ohio State, but Oregon, USC, Michigan could be a team that beat Ohio State. So it's a lot of things that could happen, not to mention about all the teams, but just my thoughts on a few as we get to other, brackets and thoughts as well.
100%. What jumped off to me, Rob, was who you've got at the 4 seed and who you've got at the 5 seed, knowing the struggles that between those two. I was like, dang, he's going to take them on early because y'all would have obviously played in the championship game in the SEC, and then you turn around and play them right again. So, and Moss, you said it right. With Georgia being scary. You mentioned it yourself. Defense wins championships, right? Georgia's going to have a defense. We all know that. We all know Kirby's going to bring it. So it's a good bracket, Rob. Tell me, curiosity just right here. Who's your national champion? Well, who is it?
My national championship, I got Texas and Notre Dame meeting in the national championship game. And Texas got to get some payback when Notre Dame stole one from my man Earl Campbell back in 77. We got to get that, man. We got to get that comeback. So I got my Texas Longhorns winning the national championship. We long overdue.
Somehow, I don't think anyone's surprised at that pick. All right. Let's jump over and let's bring up post game. We're going to jump to your bracket now. We'll go through it. So go ahead and give us a little insight on your bracket.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about this bracket. My top 4 seeds being the Irish, the Texas Longhorns. I think they get the job done and win the SEC this year. The Oregon Ducks are going to win the Big Ten. And, of course, I think it's unanimous that Miami wins the ACC. Really excited about those 4 teams. For my money to begin the season, these are the best 4 teams in college football. You got Georgia and the group of 5 team, Boise State. I really like this Boise State team. Listen, one thing about Boise State, they'll be in the Pac-12 this year. They're gunning for their 4th straight conference championship game. And why did I pick Boise State? I love their two-headed monster at running back. I think their running game is going to be stupendous. They combined for almost 2,000 yards and almost 20 touchdowns last year. I think they'll continue to roll running the ball. And they also bring back one of the best edge rushers in a group of five. So I'm really confident in Boise State this year. Their quarterback is gritty. He'll have to improve on his performance from last year, but I'm taking Boise State this year. And they'll face the Georgia Bulldogs, who I think will finish second to Texas in the SEC. I got BYU winning the Big 12 this year, fellas. I like what Coach Sataki has done, what he's built. They tried to come over and poach him from BYU, but he stayed true. He stayed there, and he's bringing back a team that I think is set up to really punish some people in the Big 12 this year with that running game. And I'm taking Louisville, man. I love what the Brown brothers have done. Uh, Born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. They've stayed true. Now they're running the program. Leaking King Holes is going to be key. If they're able to bring out the best in that quarterback, I think Louisville is going to finish second in the ACC and dethrone SMU this year. Their pass rush is going to be diabolical, I believe, with Clev Lubin. So I'm looking forward to this Louisville Cardinal team. My 7th seed, the Ohio State Buckeyes against Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech finishes second in the Big 12. This is going to be an exciting matchup. Not probably, but it's going to be the best team that Texas Tech faces all year, maybe besides BYU in the Big 12 championship game. Then you talk about the Indiana Hoosiers. I really like what they were able to do in the portal. I think Cignetti, as of today, is the best coach in college football. He's proven that. But it's going to be really interesting to see if he can continue that success he's had over the first 2 years. First year, some people thought he shouldn't have been in the playoffs. They lost to the best teams they played. Last year, they won a national title, defeating some monster squads, and a lot of them handedly. So I like this Indiana squad. And then SEC Shine, your Texas A&M Aggies at the 9 seed. Listen, for me, it's going to be on Marcel Reed. I want to see what kind of cojones this guy has. Has he been working? Has he been in his playbook? Because if Marcel is able to take that next step, I might have the Aggies too low this season. So I'm very excited about this playoff bracket, man.
Yeah, I like that bracket. I like some of the matchups you've got going, for sure. Mossberg, we're going to jump to you. Thoughts? Matchups that stand out? Anything?
And that Ohio State Texas Tech is the matchup for me. I think that's a matchup when you think of what Texas Tech went through in the offseason, what you think of what Ohio State went through in the offseason, losing so much defensively. I know it's two different comparisons of what they went through, but these are two big programs that had great seasons last year, and to see how they would match up against each other. And I love this Boise State at the 12 pick. I have had thoughts of putting Boise State when I do make my selections in this playoff because, like Poe said, that dynamic running back group pairing they got, I think is going to be something special to see in college football. Reminds you of, what was it, Barry Sanders, I believe, and Emmitt Smith back in the Oklahoma State pairing back in the day. I don't want to say it the wrong way, but Barry Sanders and his Allah who was in that backfield with him, I think it'll be special like that for Boise State. And this BYU team, I think, is going to scare a lot of people. Georgia, again, sitting at that 5 seed is very, very scary. I spoke with a guy who's a Georgia fan. Hopefully he's watching this and tuned in. Shout out to you and the thoughts that you had. And speaking on the things about the run game, you know, we spoke on that Georgia run game this season. When we talked, he said it's going to be a big deal for them, but the growth of Stockton is going to surprise a lot of people. He's here in Ohio, being a resident now after growing up in Georgia. And I appreciate all those conversations throughout the time when I'm at work with just the different people and getting that whole collective understanding of, you know, their team as well, to be able to talk about that. So for me, that's something that's interesting. Louisville being that team other than USC, I believe when posts think of if you would have another team other than Louisville, maybe it would be USC. But I like that Louisville pick, and I agree what he said with the Brown brothers, something special, and it would be even bigger if they could get in this playoff and possibly get a win. That'd be even more special for this Louisville team in the years to come, as well as the Brown brothers and what they're building. So I actually like both of these brackets, and this Notre Dame team, Texas, Oregon, Miami, I think these are going to be some teams to really watch this season. I think you're talking about defensively, offensively, they have weapons of mass destruction everywhere, and they're primed at those positions, whether it's the trenches, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the secondary, whether it's the linebacker, running back, receiver 1, 2, 3, you name it. They're loaded at all these positions, and they do stand out respectively at those positions as well.
If I had to, just let me respond.
Yeah, go ahead. 100%.
If I had to replace Louisville with a team, it would not be USC Mossberg.
Okay. Good thought.
I'm going to stay in the Big Ten, and I'm going Michigan.
Ooh.
I think Michigan is going. Now, I don't have, let me be clear, I don't have Michigan in the playoffs. Y'all see the bracket. But if it's one team that I would exchange out for Louisville, it'd be between SMU and Michigan. Listen, I think people are going to be really surprised of what Kyle Whittingham is going to bring to the table this year at Michigan. You did my sound go out? I'm sorry. No, I'm good. Okay. John Henry Daly was on track to be probably lead the nation in sacks last year before he went down. They get him back healthy. He's an addition to an already solid Michigan defense that's going to be healthy, that's going to be hitting and flying around that Big Ten style of play. But the key thing for me with Michigan is going to be Bryce Underwood. Why do I like Bryce Underwood after the year he had last year? Because Kyle Whittingham always has an athletic, scrambling quarterback. He's never had one with this amount of talent. So I think if it's one team who can surprise, it's going to be between SMU and Michigan.
100%. We'll jump to you, Rob. Get your thoughts on post games bracket here.
Yeah, I like his bracket. It's very interesting because he has 3 SEC teams, 3 Big Ten teams, 2 ACC, and 2 Big 12 teams, along with his Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Boise State, who we know will be the group of 5 candidate. My question for you post game and your bracket, I see you got BYU beating Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, and you got Louisville ahead of SMU, which means they probably met Miami in the ACC championship game. My question is, do you think they will be the benefit of having a good record? And do you think they're better than USC, Michigan, maybe even an LSU out of the SEC?
Yeah, they certainly have a shot, Rob, and I'm not putting it past. I'm not sure. I don't have the schedule pulled up. I'm not sure if Louisville plays Miami in the regular season, but let's not forget Louisville took out Miami last year. I think this Louisville team is better this year. Now, I'm not saying they're better than Miami, but I really like what I see from the Brown brothers in that Louisville squad. I don't think they'll have a devastating defense, but I think they'll have one of those defenses where if their offense is clicking, they're going to unleash those 2 pass rushers on opposing teams. And I think that's going to wreak havoc in the ACC this year. So that's why I have Louisville slightly ahead of SMU.
I'm trying to pull it up. I don't believe Louisville plays Miami. I don't think Miami plays SMU either. So no, they don't. They don't get Miami. I'm looking at.
No, go ahead. Because you got.
No, you're good. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You jump in. Go.
I was just going to think about I see you got Texas at 2 with that. The way they doing the SEC, my thought post, I think we really have the same thoughts on this. Shout out to the hometown Heen, being a part of that Texas linebacking core. And I think he's going to bring something dynamic to that defense. I think, for me, my question would be, is this a season that Texas really put it all together, with what they have? This is what, year 3, 4, with Sark, over at Texas. I think this is a big year. I think 5. I think this is a big year. When you think about what he's been able to do, thinking about the playoffs, just the appearances and, having Arch, but then bringing in him in a way a lot of things have been going, Simmons, you name it. So Texas being this high, do you have a feeling that they could really run through this SEC gauntlet of a schedule we know they got to face?
Well, I've said it on earlier streams. I like how this team is constructed. I really like the running backs they were able to get in the portal, Raleigh Brown, Hollywood Smothers, and then you pair that or you parlay that with the legs of Arch Manning. I know everybody is excited about the wide receivers at Texas, and rightfully so, but I think their bread and butter this year is going to be running the ball. And if they get a lead on these teams in the SEC, they're going to release a ferocious pass rush on them that I don't think too many offensive lines in the country can withstand. So I'm really looking forward to this Texas team. But again, I'm banking on the running game from Texas this year.
I agree. I think I'm with you on that too. I really like what they got in that backfield. Like you said, the additions of Hollywood Smothers. I'm looking at Terry the third. Another guy that's came in for Texas. I think he's going to be special. So, that top 4 you got, like I said, I really like it. Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon, Miami, Oregon. I think this could be a year for them too, where they really run through that Big Ten. So, I just like your bracket. Just don't know, but I like that Boise State at 12, especially for sure.
Let just real quick before you move on, SEC, if you don't mind, let me read off Louisville's schedule, fellas. Of course, the first game of the season, September 6th, they have an away matchup with Mississippi. That's going to tell us a lot. Then Villanova, SMU is a key game. After that, Wake Forest, NC State, Florida State, Syracuse, Stanford, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Kentucky. Now, of course, there's some teams in there who can win a game on any Saturday in the ACC when you talk about the ACC conference. But I think they have a favorable schedule. They got a couple tough games, and if that offense plays up to its potential, I definitely can see Louisville making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that's spot on. Louisville's schedule is laid out for them. So, I mean, more so than SMU and not Miami. Miami has a really good draw. But Louisville, I said it earlier myself too. Louisville SMU game is going to decide second place in the ACC, in my mind. Winner of that game is getting Miami in the championship game. And that's just the way I look at that. I like the bracket. I like the Boise State call. I was torn on mine with Boise State and UNLV. We'll reveal that here in a minute.
SEC shine. That group of five. Listen, UNLV is one. Navy is one. Boise State is one. Memphis is one. SMU is one. Or James Madison is one. Hawaii is one. Bro, that race is going to be exciting.
I think this is going to be one of the best group of 5 races we've ever seen, to be honest with you. And I mean, I don't think it really is going to matter who gets it. I mean, they're going to be fodder for the number 5 seed anyway. But I think it's going to be fun to watch, kind of like it was last year with Navy and North Texas and USF all coming down. And so I think it's going to be a really exciting watch. But I like the bracket, like some of the potential matchups you've got going. I knew you'd have BYU in there beating Tech. You've been really high on BYU every stream we've had. Some good matchups. Some matchups we don't see often. Ohio State, Texas Tech, Indiana, A&M, BYU, Louisville. That's what I like about doing this, is because you're projecting and it gives us matchups that we can dream on and go, I'd like to see that. Who wouldn't want to see Ohio State's offense against that Tech defense? You know, we'll see how it plays out. So, same question I gave Rob at the end: national championship game and winner.
Michigan has their national championship. Then Ohio State got a national championship. Then IU got a national championship. What does these teams have in common? Midwest teams. The Midwest is going to take the national championship home for a fourth straight season. And this time, fellas, it's coming to South Bend, where I was born and raised, under that golden dome. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame defeat Texas. Oh no, they can't play Texas.
They can. The bracket didn't put 1, 2, 3, 4 in order.
Oh,
where they would
okay.
be.
Okay, got you. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame defeats Mr. Brown's Texas Longhorns in the national championship game. A fourth straight championship to the Midwest. Let's go.
Ooh. Again, I don't think anybody would not have seen that prediction coming. Not even saying it's homerism based between you. With Rob, it is, but not with postgame. Rob is always homerism for Texas. We know that. But we live with it. It is what it is. Yeah, good bracket. Before we move on to the next bracket, which is mine, I'm going to let Mossberg take center stage and just kind of give me what you thought. I mean, I know you were busy with a bunch going on, didn't have a chance to get the 12 sent over to me. That's fine. No big deal. Go ahead and just run through some matchups you see in the playoffs that could happen that you're looking forward to.
I actually, when I was writing down, it was really tough to determine a 12 for me. So, that was the real main thing that I went with, wanting to break some things down. I see so far, waiting to get to yours, nobody picked LSU. I think LSU could be a team to watch. Just my thoughts. I think they could be a team that could sneak in. The SEC is loaded. The Big Ten is loaded. I singly only have Power 5, Boise State. I'm looking at my paper right here. I have Notre Dame, only independent. Big 12, I have BYU and Texas Tech. The Big 10, I actually have 5 different teams. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, USC, Michigan. And then in the SEC, I already said LSU. I also have Bama, Texas, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. And then over in the ACC, I had Miami, I had SMU, but I had a shocker, and that's that Clemson team. A lot of people is not thinking about when it comes to Dabo. The ACC, I think, is going to be a conference to watch this year. As we all know, it kind of shook things up in these 12-team playoffs in these first few years, along with, of course, my homerism with my Seminoles. If we could come in somewhere and snag something out the air and be ready for that preview Sunday, Monday evening for sure. And then I picked Louisville as well. I did have Louisville down in that ACC. So, when you think about it, it makes me think about when we've always talked about having that 24-team playoff or having 16. When you jot it down, it's really hard to determine. And when I get headaches, I kind of step back. And that's what I had to do after writing things down. I said, I'm going to just do what I do and talk my talk a little bit because it's easier for me. And I think LSU, Oklahoma, I think Michigan and USC are the teams to watch. When you talk about SEC, when you talk about Big Ten, when you talk about Big 12, I think this could be BYU's year. ACC, Clemson and Louisville. 2 teams that had seasons last year we wasn't expecting, thinking it could go a different way. But I think this is a year where they show a lot of progress in what they're doing as well. And I think, like Post said, this Boise State team is rocking. They've been doing it for a long time. And I think they're going to be back with a vengeance trying to get in that playoff as they started and surprised people that first year with the 12. and Notre Dame. Preseason #1 at one point, but playoff picture, everybody has them at #1 and even champions. And as I said, man, it's nothing like it until you go visit and see certain places. And for me, that's what it was. That's why I speak so highly. And I can agree and know and understand what the feeling is like down there for Post. I know it's nothing but championship, and the atmosphere is crazy. So, I could see a Texas, Oregon, Miami, Notre Dame. I could definitely see those 4 teams possibly taking home the crown. And that Midwest, we definitely doing our thing. So make sure you keep it Midwest, as we are WTP Sports in the Midwest also.
Yeah, really good takes. I mean, you're 100% right, Moss. I mean, we could have done 16-team playoff bracket, and we still would have been thinking we left some teams out, guys. We all know that. But we're at 12. Let's stick with 12. Let's see how good we can do. Kind of shotgun your Clemson take. That's what we're here for, though. Takes. I mean, Rob's got Ohio State missing the playoffs. You had Carolina winning the division last year. I mean, this is what we do. We give our opinions and our thoughts, and we stand by them. You're a little higher on Clemson than I think many of us are. But you know what? We could be dead wrong, and Clemson could run the table. We don't know.
I'm put LSU in there this year, too. I'm going to put LSU in as a playoff team. That's the only thing.
We can't do any voting for Lane quitting. We can't do anything for him.
Put them in.
No, I don't blame you. They're loaded. You're 100% right. And we're going to find out about them in week 4 ourselves. Any thoughts on Post or Rob on anything Moss brought up, some of the teams to watch or anything?
Yeah, I'm interested in Oklahoma, because I think Brent Venables is in a critical year. I think that defense is going to be nasty, like it normally is, but they gotta mature. I think their offense has been mature or bust, and they got a couple of players. They definitely need to be able to run the ball. But for me, Oklahoma is a really interesting team because, I mean, they could really, shake up the playoff brackets if they're able to be successful. Now, that early game against Michigan, for me, Oklahoma and Michigan, is going to tell a lot. But Oklahoma, for me, is a really interesting team, as well as LSU, man. I mean, LSU has a roster that is just as talented as anybody, if not more. How quick are they able to gel, bring that together? First year, a lot of transfers after a terrible year under Brian Kelly. So LSU is going to be another interesting team out of that SEC. Those 2 teams, Oklahoma and LSU, are extremely interesting in my eye, and I got my eyes on them.
Yeah, when Mossberg started talking about how interesting the ACC is going to be, and it's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be so interesting that it's possible that they only get their champion in there, and we realize that maybe a Michigan creeps in there, maybe a USC, maybe a LSU, maybe a 4th team either in the Big 10 or the SEC gets in over having 2 teams from the ACC. Because I really feel like when you talk about that Louisville team especially, they get 2 SEC teams, the front end and the back end. What are they looking like by the time they play Kentucky in their last game? Are they beat up? Are they mangled? Can Kentucky take advantage of maybe a really unhealthy Louisville team because they might have some games in the ACC where they get a little bit worn out? So I'm anxious to see how that thing plays out too. But I'm glad you mentioned that about the ACC, Mossberg, because they're going to be a much more competitive conference. And maybe they only get 1 team in because they ate on each other during the regular season.
One thing, though, about the ACC, if I could, Louisville doesn't play Miami. Does SEC shine? I think you mentioned early. Does SMU play Miami? I'm not sure if that, bro. If that's okay, so none of their premier teams, in my opinion, play each other. That could
SMU and Louisville play.
That's right. SMU and Louisville play. But still, that ACC
They play Florida
conference,
State too.
well, you haven't said a word about Florida
Nah,
State
you
since
good.
last
You
year,
good.
so I don't know what to expect from the Seminoles, dog. I can't wait for your preview. But the ACC fellas can end up a mess again, and I'm so glad they fixed their tiebreakers this year.
I'm glad you asked that question too, Post, because like for me, SMU, Miami, Louisville, I think that SMU Louisville game is going to determine so much within this ACC. Like you think everybody right now, of course, has Miami. I'm going with SMU, to win the ACC. The reason why is just think of that year that everybody had Miami winning and the struggle they had to get to that first playoff. So for me, I think SMU can beat Louisville, and Louisville could be that team that gains off of that loss to SMU and that gauntlet that Miami had to go through. They still got to play y'all. They still got to play Duke. They got teams that they have to play on their schedule, and it's not going to be no cakewalk for Miami. When you think about Clemson, Florida State, Pittsburgh, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Duke, Virginia Tech, that's a gauntlet for the ACC with having that one non-conference game playing Notre Dame. So just think, will, the season for Miami go up or down when you think about that game with Louisville early, that SMU Louisville game early in the season, how can that be effective in this conference? I think that's a big game to look at down the road, because if Miami chokes or have a hiccup, I think it fares out to SMU or Louisville possibly getting in as well. And that's why I said I like the way you had the two teams from the ACC and the different conferences matching up with those three as well on your bracket also.
Yeah, it's artistically incredible. Glad to see everybody. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat too. Appreciate it. Dropping your stuff and your questions and all your comments and stuff y'all have. But artistically incredible made a great point. Non-conference, but BYU Notre Dame and SMU Notre Dame are going to be really interesting games too. Do y'all travel to Provo, Post?
We do travel to Provo.
Yeah, y'all get SMU at home.
Yeah. To me, every team should have at least three challenging games on their schedule. And I think Notre Dame accomplished that this season. A lot of people will say, Notre Dame doesn't play anybody. Look, SMU, BYU, and Miami are all in the top 25 AP poll. Miami top 10, BYU top 15, SMU top 20. To me, like, what for any team, not just Notre Dame, you got three challenging games on your schedule. I'm good with that. And I think traveling to Provo against that really physical run game is going to be a challenge. Playing Kevin Jennings from SMU is going to be a challenge. I think Miami is, maybe a couple teams could go at Notre Dame in those defensive backs. Miami is definitely a team that can go at Notre Dame in their defensive backs with that wide receiver core they got. So, good point. Artistically incredible.
Yeah, and y'all play
I'd like
crazy.
to add something. Oh, go ahead, Mossberg. My fault.
Nah, you good. Go ahead.
I wanted to add something to that because, artistically incredible mentioned SMU and BYU playing Notre Dame. And then, of course, post-game mentioned that Miami play them. And I said this before. All three of those teams, BYU, SMU, and Miami, might only have one loss. And all three of them, one loss might come to Notre Dame, which means they ran the table on everybody else.
I'll put it this way, and this is my defense of Notre Dame. Everybody always says the same thing. They don't play anybody, weakest schedule around, blah, 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 blah. They're playing three tough games, at least, right? Notre Dame, we've mentioned those. they play a 6-game ACC schedule. Some of their games are already decided for them. So picking up the BYU, I mean, SMU and Miami, I guess those are considered 2 of your conference games, but still, those are 3 solid opponents that what happens? I mean, if you replace Miami and SMU with, I don't know, 2 other lower end ACC teams, people are going to still have the same argument. But Notre Dame doesn't build their ACC schedule. They play who the ACC tells them to play. And then they have to go try to find, and that your schedule is set with the ACC with dates. And then you have to go out and try to fill in with whoever's got an open date that week.
Facts.
So all the hatred on Notre Dame's schedule, I get it. It's fun. I mean, I have a little fun with it too. But let's be, at the end of the day, you have to be realistic about it. You can't just go schedule who you want, because those guys, they can't schedule Texas and A&M and a Florida States and all this. They can't, because those guys already have games scheduled in their conference.
Facts.
So
and
everybody can just kind of get off on that for a minute. But
let me add this, SEC Sean, and this is why I hate preseason strength of schedules, because we don't know. Half of the teams ranked in the top 25 last year did not end up as a top 25 team. You telling me there's no chance Wisconsin could be good? You telling me there's no chance Navy can come out of the group of 5? Like, come on.
I like the fact about the situation with Notre Dame's schedule. A lot of people, like, you know, my brother's a diehard Notre Dame fan, and you know, since meeting you post, it's the same thing. You know, you can't negate what they do with their schedule. Their schedule is a certain way. They, like you said, SEC Sean, that's how it is. So for me, when you think of this schedule that Notre Dame has, you starting off playing what, 3-4 Big Ten schools, you over in the SEC, you over in the Big 12, regardless of the teams that they're playing. You got SMU, Miami. Yes, normally it would be USC or Florida State in those positions. So respect is there, regardless of what people want to say about this Notre Dame team. I think for me, I'm still tripping off the fact they got snubbed last year, but we ain't going to talk about this. This is a new year. So for me, the schedule they have, I love it. And I think they're out to prove something different to everybody that has something to say, not just last year. I'm talking about the last few years. And there's been talks about their schedule over the last decade, in my opinion, TV, you name it. So for me, I think it's something that Notre Dame has been known about. I think this schedule is put right in their arms for them to grasp and take over.
yeah, I was looking at that question, and it was kind of making me think. I know it had been talk about that, but Notre Dame being no higher than a 5, but I don't think that's correct. I think if Notre Dame is ranked 1 or 2, they're going to be 1 or 2 in the seeding.
Yeah, that was only when they were taking the conference champions to take the spots in 1 through
Right.
4. Now that's no longer the case. If Notre Dame finishes, where if they finish 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's where they're going to be positioned at if the committee got them there, so they can be in the top 4.
Yeah, I knew there was something about it, and I couldn't remember, but I was like, I don't think that's the case anymore. So good point, Rob. I had forgot that at the first they were doing just the conference champions for 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah, valid point. Good question, though. Artistically incredible, because it took some digging on to figure it all out. Well, we'll bring up my bracket, which has my one bold pick on there that I've kind of reversed a little bit on, but not fully. So here comes mine. We'll bring it up. We have the same top 4 except for 1. And I can't put Texas over Georgia. I just can't do it until they beat them. That's just my theory on it. We all have the same others. What I found crazy before I go through it is if you look at the 8-9 matchup, I need to pay more attention. But all of three of us with the brackets have A&M hitting Notre Dame in the next round if they were to win their first round. So even myself included as an Aggie, I guess we all just hate A&M giving them that to go, because that Notre Dame is licking their chops if A&M comes rolling to town. They want revenge bad. And I don't blame them. I don't. But that would be, so we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Notre Dame, Oregon 2 wins the Big Ten. Georgia wins the SEC. Miami wins the ACC. I went Indiana 5, losing to Oregon in the title game of the Big Ten. UNLV, I went with UNLV. I almost threw Hawaii in there because y'all know I'm high on this Hawaii team. I almost did it, but I just felt like it's asking a little bit too much for them. So I went with UNLV. My surprise team that nobody else had was Houston. I have Houston in the playoffs. I'm high on this Houston team. I've got them winning the Big 12, but then I'm kind of backpedaling with them in Tech. I think Houston and Tech meet in the Big 12 title game. I think Tech beats them, and that's the difference. And Tech gets the 7. Houston gets the 11. There's the Houston-Texas matchup. I don't think that would be real close. I don't think Houston's at that level. I like SMU. I know others have liked Louisville. SMU is my pick coming out of the ACC. Secondly, I've got them beating Louisville and then kind of going on to meet Miami in the title game. And then, of course, A&M. And I do have Ohio State in. I can see where Rob's coming from. I totally do. But I just think that I think Ohio State, if it's close, is going to get the nod over other teams. I just think that's going to happen based on track record, based on schedule, based on a lot of different factors. I think if it's a close toss, if you say that that's going to be between Ohio State and LSU, it's going to Ohio State. That's just how I got that bracket laying out. I'll let you look at it first, Moss. Tell me what you think.
I really like it. I mean, the thing don't surprise me with the Georgia and Texas. I know you SEC. I know that's something you spoke about, over the last year. That's something that Texas got to get over the hump for you. I still like that Texas team. I don't know. I got a feeling about Alabama this year. I haven't seen nobody with Alabama in there as well as LSU. I like the Houston pick. That Houston-Texas matchup could be scary. But the matchup that I'm looking at is the possibility of an A&M Notre Dame, Ohio State Notre Dame. Those are matchups that we've seen in the past few years as well. Indiana Miami possibility of a matchup. So Texas Georgia linking up again, Oregon Tech, SMU. I mean, it's just so many different matchups that we see in this bracket, as well as the others that I think you think about. What would Ohio State be at a 9 seed? How many losses do they actually have? That's my thought, getting that 9 seed in that Big Ten with Indiana in there and Oregon at 2. So Indiana being a 5 seed, could that be scary? I don't know. For me, I think this is a proven season for me with Indiana, but I like a couple of my guys, Hoover and Marsh, being there. So I can respect them at that 5 seed and being scary at home with that crowd. And we know what that could be like. So I definitely like this bracket with Houston being in there, UNLV. I don't know about UNLV. I like Boise State on that Power 5 side, but like you said, UNLV could definitely make some things happen. They definitely got a nice team and a nice quarterback as well. So I like this bracket. Notre Dame sitting at that 1, Oregon sitting at 2, Georgia 3, Miami 4. Every 4 we've seen with Notre Dame, Oregon, Miami, Texas, and now Georgia being in there. That's ACC, Big Ten, independent. So that says a lot about the Big 12. As we spoke on the ACC last year. So that's a conference to look at. I think this year will that be a lot tougher than the ACC, as we see the ACC being up in this as well. So just a thought for me: will the ACC be stronger, and can Miami hold that 4 seed or be up top a little heavier? So I like Notre Dame with that 1 seed though. I like this bracket.
Yeah, for your to answer your question about what kind of losses, I'd have Ohio State 9-3.
3 losses, they don't get in.
Well, 3 losses they get in at 9-3. I think they're going to be the first 9-3 team to get in. I really do, based on who they look at their schedule this year. It's brutal. And that's why I think they'll have 3 losses.
Respecting Ohio State, no disrespect. You lose 3 games. 1 would be USC, I'm guessing. 1 would possibly be Indiana, Michigan, or Oregon.
Indiana, Oregon, and Texas.
They out.
I think a 9-3 team gets in this year, and I think it's that one.
That's tough.
It's going to be tough, but the SEC going to the 9-game schedule is going to have a bunch of 9-3 teams. So it's going to be crazy, but that's what I have. I have them losing to Texas. I said that the other day. I have Texas beating them by 17. And y'all know I'm not a big Texas fan. So, but I just think Texas is loaded this year.
Seem like Doug and Unc wearing off on you now, SEC.
No, not wearing off on me. I just, I'm more in tune with that team than I am any other team except for mine because they're right there and I hear about them a lot. But yeah, they're stacked. Look, 1, 2, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas. Those are probably the 3 most complete rosters in all of college football. So, but I still think Georgia just has something between Texas's ears that I can't put Texas over Georgia until I see it. Just like I wouldn't have A&M over Texas right now because we haven't seen it. I'll let you take a shot at it, Rob. What are you looking at?
Man, one thing that we've all got is the consensus that Notre Dame, Oregon, and Miami will be in our top 4. That's one thing that I noticed. And the next thing, my man Artistically Incredible was right inside my head. You got 5 teams from the state of Texas in your top 12. I know the state of Texas is going to be doing double backflips because they get to see 5 of their teams from the state in those games, and 2 of them are 2 games are matchups between Texas teams. You got Texas and Houston. You got Texas Tech and SMU. Man, I know the state of Texas is going to be going ham. And if A&M can pop Ohio State, boy, they're going to be dancing in their birthday suit, bro. I like your bracket. I really feel like if Ohio State does have 3 losses, there's so many teams with so many weak schedules that's going to finish 11-1 or 10-2 that's going to make their championship game that they're going to probably have to leave Ohio State out. Not because they're better than Ohio State, but simply because their record is better. And I said this a million times. I hate that.
Yeah, I realized that after I put my bracket together. I went, well, I'm going to catch hell for this. But, welcome to conference realignment. It just so happens that they're all spread out now. It's not 15 years ago where you had all of them in the Big 12 together. So, plus, remember, there's 50 colleges in the state of Texas that play football. So there's a little bit of college ball going. But I realized it when I did it, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna go over not real well. But like I said, when you look at the conferences, Tech, Big 12, SMU, ACC, Houston, Big 12. Notice I left BYU out because I've got Houston in. Texas and Texas A&M. I honestly feel those are them. So that's why I went with it. What are you looking at post game? What caught your eye there besides maybe the matchup with A&M?
Oh, well, this is what caught my eyes. This is clear Texas bias. And I expected that from you, Mr. SEC Shine, seeing as that you're a son of Texas. So I understand that, my man. But outside of that, uh, a shout out to Zay in the chat, man. I'm mad at you, man. You've been running from this smoke, man. You've been running, homie, and we waiting on you. But besides that, I think Ohio State is a really interesting team this year because it can go so many different ways. They could dominate, they can lose 2 or 3 games. But looking at their schedule, fellas, a lot of people are mentioning 3 matchups. I see like 5. They got Texas, they got Indiana, they got USC, Oregon, and we can't sleep on the Michigan game because it's a rivalry game. So, I mean, Ohio State is a really interesting team this year. Me personally, I don't have them losing those many games. You guys make great arguments, as Rob did earlier in the stream against Ohio State making the playoffs. They don't have a lot of room for error with that schedule. I think that Houston and Texas, if Houston has the type of season that SEC Shine is projecting, that's going to be a really interesting matchup as well. I like this bracket. Little heavy on the Texas barbecue sauce, but it is what it is. It's still a great bracket. So, but outside of that, man, I really like this bracket.
Yeah. I just went, like I said, I went with what I felt, and with some of the predictions I'd already made on previous streams, I wasn't going to backtrack on them. Championship game, unfortunately, it's not coming to the SEC this year again. But it's not coming to the Midwest either. It's going south to Florida. I have Miami in a rematch with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame gets them in the regular season. Miami gets them in the they can't meet in the championship game. Somebody refresh that. My bracket, I forgot, is off. So we'll go. I had Miami, Notre Dame, but I'll have to flip it, and I'm going to go Miami, Oregon, and we'll go Miami over Oregon in the championship game after. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. Miami will beat Notre Dame in the semifinal. Oregon beats Georgia, and then Miami beats Oregon. We're going to take it down to South Beach. Since LeBron's not down there, somebody else can get him a ring. So that's where I'm going with that. And we see Zay in the chat. What he have to say? Who he put his top 4 out there somewhere. I got to find it. There it is. He just sent in his top 4: Oregon, Notre Dame, Miami, Ohio State. I mean, look, Ohio State, you said it, Post, they could go one or two ways. They can either run the table or it could just spiral quick. So, let's see. What's this?
Hey, I told y'all Ohio State was going to be one when them polls released, though.
Yeah. That's a question I want to ask everybody real quick when the polls came out, because there was a piece of history in that poll, a couple of them. So this is the first time since 2015 that no SEC team got a first place vote. How shocking is that as loaded as Texas is and as Georgia's being Georgia, that they didn't even get, either one of them didn't even get a first place vote. How shocked were y'all by that?
I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't shocked because you got Notre Dame, you got Oregon, you got Miami, and I mean that's where all your number 1 votes probably was gonna go. I'm honestly not shocked. The Big Ten's been doing what they do. If you think about it, these last few years, and you know, since this when you think about the playoff, SEC is running the table and everything when it comes to appearances, wins, all of those accolades. But when it comes to wins, it's spread out through the conferences. And it honestly didn't shock me. Could this be another way of the tides turning, possibly as well? And then if a SEC team don't win this year, it won't surprise me coming into next year that they wouldn't get no first place votes based on the reload of some of these teams as well. So, this is just something to think about. Could the tides really be turning, with this NIL being a big part of things, that alumni, you're starting to see it in a lot of these schools as well.
Anybody else?
No,
Rob, you were shocked that Texas didn't get a vote?
No, I wasn't shocked because like what Mossberg said, when you look at that roster that Notre Dame has, it's unbelievable. You look at that roster that Oregon has, it's unbelievable. Miami, Ohio State, all of them have really, really, really good rosters, and only so many of those 4 teams can get first place votes. So I wasn't shocked by it. But at the same time, I still feel like the SEC is the best conference in college football. No, listen, 50% of their games came down to 1-score games. Guess how many 1-score games Indiana had last year? 2. Guess how many the Ohio State Buckeyes had? I think they had 3. That goes to show that the level of competition in the Big Ten is bunk unless it's at the top.
I mean, am I shocked no SEC team got a first place vote? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I believe Texas and Georgia are definitely worthy of first place votes. But I mean, like Rob just broke it down, like Mossberg broke it down. Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, these teams, Miami, these teams are extremely talented. And the truth of the matter is, the SEC hasn't gotten it done the last few years. They're on the clock. The SEC has to get it done this year. They can't go all these, 4 or 5 years without a national championship. So the SEC, 4 years without a natty. The SEC is on the clock.
The only reason I found it shocking was because of all the stuff we keep hearing about Texas and their roster. That out of all the voters, 69 of them, not one gave them a vote. That's what caught me shocked. The hype around Texas and even Georgia being good. I would have thought Texas would have got a first place vote over Georgia, to be honest, just because we've heard about it all. Arch Manning and Cam Coleman and all the stuff they've done. That's why out of 69, I was shocked one didn't. This is also the first time in 17 years that Bama hasn't been preseason top 10.
Another crazy thing about it, SEC, not to cut you off, my bad, was
You're good.
Just to think about it, when we thinking of this playoff, I did a little research. Georgia is the last team from the SEC, back to back. Then before that you got Bama, LSU, Clemson, Bama, Ohio State. You have no Texas, no disrespect. So I don't think they believe in it. I think that's why this year, this is a big year for Texas. I think overall, what they did to bring in what they have and the way things are going, we talk about Sark not really being on a hot seat. I think his seat get a little sturdy, New York City style, if they don't get the job done this year. I think they have to win the SEC at least this year for people not to start talking in a different tone when you talk about Texas and what they've been able to do and reload. I think they reloaded and to have what you have coming back as well. When you think of Notre Dame, like you say, Oregon, Miami, of course you think of Texas, but the question is, are they going to go out and put it together? We've heard so much from before Arch's arrival, and now he's been arrived and he's been there, so is this that year? That's just the things that I think about when you mention, are we surprised about that SEC? And even when you speak on Texas, but I feel like this could be that year where they break out and show us some things that when Colt McCoy took that team down and them big game winning drives as well in that year. I think 2012, 15, I forget. I don't know what year I'm talking about. And they got that big win in the young type of years as well.
Yeah,
go ahead. You're good.
I just want to add, I don't think Texas has to win the SEC. I do think they will. I personally think Texas will win the SEC, but I don't think they have to win the SEC. I think they have to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll be before Rob can even jump in. I'll jump in and tell you, Texas, and I know you'll agree, Rob, has had some of the best rosters that has flat just underachieved. They've had a few of those years. I can go back to the Herman years, to the Strong years. Oh, Texas, and then they 5-7. So I see your point, but I'm just based on the hype that not 1 out of 69 even did anything for them. That's what just blew me away. And it's true. We're on the SEC is on the clock post. You're right. But I don't like to bring up history, so I won't bring it up. But I mean, since the playoffs, it's been pretty heavy dominated by the SEC. So, but times change, portals change, NIL changed a lot. I mean, did anybody raise your hand if 5 years ago I'd have told you Indiana's going to win a national championship in football? Would any of you have raised your hand?
Not a soul.
It's all changed.
And to speak on that, when you say the SEC, if we think about how long the playoff era has been going on, just think of the era and how many titles the SEC got. They have 6. Big Ten got 3 straight. I like what you said on that post. They on watch for real this year. The SEC is, I think, the conference that's on watch most because they've been known to run this when it comes to the playoff. It's SEC. But when you win 3 straight out of a conference, and I like the way you mentioned that Midwest, that NIL, that those bags are getting different, but those players are moving to where you could also play around all of those different weather elements to where that makes that difference. And when you go on to play in the heat, when you go on to play in the cold, and it's cold, they be ready for the cold. That's like being a kid and you just out there. It's like a smear to queer. So I think it's definitely something to look out for. Big Ten, get another one. I'm gonna go ahead and say it again. I think they definitely running college football for the time being right now, understanding how the playoff things happen. But that NIL makes way for players to go from being in the ACC or being in the Big Ten or SEC to switching and changing to different conferences. So, the NIL has changed a lot in these years of this playoff as well.
Yep, definitely has, for sure. And you're right. Big Ten is running the game right now. But somebody else had to. The SEC was getting tired of doing it all. I mean, we only went 7 in a row at one point. Come on. And then 9 out of 13. So, I mean, we got tired. I'm just kidding. We'd love to still be winning them. But the Big Ten is running it right now. You are correct. There is no doubt about that. I don't think anybody will argue that. So, what else we got?
Just a quick question. Just a quick question on, since we're talking about the college football playoff, do anybody know who has the most college playoff? I mean, the wins in the college playoff football era.
Like the 12-team era?
Just the whole college football playoff era from the 4-team on up to the 12-team now.
I would probably guess Georgia.
That got to be Bama, right? Because I mean, they got the most championships since the four came, right? So it got to be Bama.
What's your pick,
Oh yeah, that's
SEC?
right. The four were in the teens, the 20 teens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably Bama.
What's your thoughts, SEC?
It's got to be. It's got to be Bama. I mean, they had the most titles in that stretch,
Yeah,
but they were only playing 2 games then too, so it could have been. But I'd have to go Bama.
yeah. It's Bama. Bama got 10 wins. I mean 10 wins, 9 appearances, 3 titles. SEC got the conference appearance in the most is the SEC. Conference with the most wins is the SEC, and with the most titles is the SEC. So, just to think about that, that's crazy what the NIL has done to college football, but it just gives us a perspective of being able to talk about that Power Five and how strong of Notre Dame being that independent team, seeing them on this run that they've been on with Freeman. Freeman came from the Big Ten, being at Ohio State. So it's so many different things you could look into. I think that it's great to actually think about that it's in college football now, overall seeing the tides change and different players being able to go to different conferences and things like that. So, just give us something to think about in the long run.
Well, what it's done, and I think everybody here can agree, what the whole landscape of realignment, NIL, portal, all that has done is it's given us what we wanted. 8 years ago, were people not screaming, and of course we didn't know each other. I didn't know y'all back then, but wasn't everybody screaming that I'm tired of Clemson and Bama? I'm tired of this. I'm tired. And so we expanded, and now we're getting new blood in. A&M got in last year. The group of 5 gets a team. Indiana, I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, SMU was in it 1 year. So, I mean, we're getting what we want with different teams because of all the different moving parts of college football. And I think it's good for the entire sport, because now these kids that are 5 stars out of Dallas, Texas, don't have to go to Texas, A&M, Notre Dame, Ohio State. They can go to SMU and know they can compete. So, that's just how I look at the landscape of things. So I ain't got nothing else. If y'all ain't got nothing else, what do we got going on this week? What do we got coming up? You on tomorrow, Moss?
Man, y'all know what we're doing, man. We doing the NFC breakdown. The 6th one before being coming to you, we're going to break down the north of the NFC, and that'll finish up everything on the breakdowns that we'll have. And also, I got some conversations coming. Also, just want to send a shout out to all the athletes I've been talking to over the past weeks. Just being able to work on these edits for you all, I greatly appreciate you all. Just being able to give me that time to work on my craft. It's just something that I love to do on my free time. And I'm glad you are here. I'll be doing Football Friday night at Northland High School this season. And wouldn't be able to do that without you, Unc, being able to bring us all here and do what we do on this podcast channel. I've been excited. I've been doing a lot of studying with Gus Johnson, Keith Jackson, one of my legends, rest in peace, who I watched so long do his commentary. So, and appreciate the Northland staff, the principal, the athletic director, Mr. Bowes, just everybody involved in making this happen, and just all the support through all the social media, Instagram, every network that I'm on. I appreciate all the love that's been shown, as well as the support. Also, I don't want to forget anybody, but it's definitely appreciated as well.
You forgot to thank your mom and dad, Moss.
Oh no, I got something special for them. I definitely thank mom and pops for birthing me, man. They birthed a great, and I honestly didn't realize what I was getting myself into, honestly, when I answered that phone call from Unc. And I guess it was something that was in me, hearing people when I was on the intercom saying, you have a radio voice. And to be preparing myself for football Friday nights and to be echoing that voice throughout the stadium and throughout the neighborhood. Trust me, the North Side over there in Northtown, if you're over by Northland High School, trust me, on football Friday nights when they at home, you're going to hear that voice of Mossberg, and I'm going to be coming, and we're going to be heavy, and we're going to be in that end zone for sure. So it's just a great thing to do, and I can't wait to be there, man, for sure.
Yeah, of course, on Thursday, we got the U preview jumping off at 7:45 post game. If you're available, you can host that even though it's already set. I don't know if you had to work or not, but that's set. And also this weekend on Sunday, we will have OH, the Buckeyes preview with our man One Take Zaya and T1 in the building. That'll be at 9 a.m. So make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you get notified when we're about to go live.
What are we doing Saturday? Does anybody know?
Got that Saturday morning talk.
Yeah, but we got to. Normally we've had it all laid out up until then. So
it's just a change in the schedule because everybody's
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Saturday.
We'll have something for sure at 10 a.m.
Yeah, we'll do something.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we who knows? We might be breaking down rhythm gymnastics. Who knows? I'll be out for that show.
Rob, I'm staying away from a Miami stream, bro. That's all you got that.
Said he got the Miami stream.
He gonna come on with the glasses and the mustache like old Bobby Valentine did for the Mets a couple years ago, in incognito, trying to get some inside information.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll hear plenty of shots at Notre Dame in that stream, but it's all good. I'm looking forward to the Miami breakdown.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some shots thrown at me too on that. So, but it'll be all right.
Well, at least shoot me a thumbnail then. Shoot me a thumbnail.
Make sure y'all put y'all's all-time teams together because I'll be for the college football season and throughout this fall season, all the respective sports, I'll be tapping into the all-time teams talk, putting together different teams and just having shows on different teams as well throughout that college football season to kind of keep attention as well on that Wednesday and turning some of those into that conversation with Mossberg as well.
Yeah, we're going to build an all-century team, quarter-century team from 2000 to 2025. We're going to build a team. WTP Sports is.
That's interesting. And Rob, I definitely got you, bro, if you need it.
I do.
All right. Well, we cruising. Had a good one. Some good takes and some good brackets out there. We'll see who comes closest to the correct prediction later. Or we all might just do like I do every March and crumple it up and throw it in the trash because it's blown up. So other than that, everybody, appreciate everybody in the chat. Zay, artistically incredible. Everybody else that I might have missed while I was loading graphics. Anybody that was everybody in the chat, appreciate it. Y'all help make the show roll. Rob, Post, Mossberg, appreciate y'all and your insight and great analysis y'all provide. But everybody look up at the top and at that banner scrolling and go hit every one of those channels. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll know when any of us go live. We're all normally on this channel, but we all do stuff on the side too. So if you want some Notre Dame, go check out Post Game and hit his bell. If you want Texas info, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, go check out Rob and his channel. And Mossberg, if you want a little bit of everything, Mossberg is where you go. You don't know if you're going to get cooking tips. You're going to get football breakdown. You don't know what you're going to get. Just go check him out and follow him and hit the bell. And I'm your guy here with doing this. And then I run some NASCAR stuff. So go check us all out. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. And gentlemen, we will see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.